Welcome back to Mind Your Biz. My name is Seth.
And I'm Mrs. Mineyour.biz.
And you are watching the Mind Your Biz channel. Be sure that you are subscribed and that you turn on all notifications so you don't miss future videos. In today's news, we got Cynthia Lummis, the crypto queen. She says a lack of laws are pushing the crypto industry overseas. Tell me about Cynthia Lummis, Mimi. Who is this person?
So she is a senator in Wyoming who bought her first Bitcoin way back in 2013. Apparently her son-in-law got her to buy her first Bitcoin.
She also worked on the Responsible Financial Innovation Act, which is supposed to create a regulatory framework for the crypto industry.
Yes.
Kind of a big deal. It's apparently a bipartisan bill. And it's always nice to see Republicans and Democrats getting along, and we just need them to work for us. Stop working for their parties. There's a plan for a new and improved bill that apparently is both, air quotes, lighter and meatier.
Yes.
And will propose statutory language as opposed to just studies.
I think the first one was a little more, on that educational edge.
Yeah.
And now this one is things that are more concrete.
No, that makes sense. And I agree with the quote here that says the failure of the United States Congress to enact policy is pushing the industry to other countries. We covered this in the last news cycle. We talked about Singapore and Hong Kong and all these other areas of the world, right? United Arab Emirates or Dubai. So many other areas that crypto companies are bringing their business because we're pushing them out.
She says what's happening right now is that the failure of the United States Congress to enact policy is pushing the industry to other countries. Europe is ahead of us in terms of its regulatory framework. Australia and the UK are getting ahead of us. Switzerland is far ahead of us. So America has some catching up to do.
That may be true, but personally, I'm not comfortable with the comparison to Australia and the UK based on their very hyper-vigilant, hyper-surveillance-oriented governments there. I don't think I want to compete with Australia and the UK, but she's not wrong. At least regulation is in place. There's no ambiguity. There's no lack of clarity there.
Right, and that has been so problematic with the SEC just kind of coming and laying out suits against companies when there really is no regulatory framework. There is no clarity. And so it's like, you did something wrong. It's like, well, how did I do something wrong? Because you did a bad thing that we're telling you is bad now.
Yeah, we'll tell you after the lawsuit.
Exactly.
Now get in here and let us sue you for everything you're worth.
Yeah, it's crazy town.
Yeah. So it looks like the additional quote here, this industry is very nimble and can drop anchor anywhere in Europe where they already have a regulatory framework. It's getting fleshed out much faster than we are. I just came from a discussion with a firm that is hiring in the UK as opposed to the US because our regulatory framework is not fleshed out. That's a quote from Senator Lummis herself.
Yeah, so I don't think it's necessarily that places like Australia are better places for cryptocurrency. It's just that, at least we know what they're asking.
Moving on, we got news coming out of the block. Circle is applying for a French crypto license as a stablecoin issuer in Europe. Looks like the quick take is that the applications are part of a European expansion strategy. Do you have any other insight on this? Or
yeah, we're pushing all of these businesses out of our country into other countries.
Personally, I've got a darker view of this, and that is that Circle and USDC will become the stepping stone towards a CBDC. They'll be the in-between step between what we currently have in FedNow and then FedNow and a CBDC when the U.S. government finally launches it. I think Circle and USDC are being protected by the federal government here in the United States, and I think they are trying to export USDC as a poison pill to the rest of crypto in those territories. That's my take on it.
That sounds accurate. I mean, considering that the European Union just passed legislation that requires a backdoor kill switch, right?
Yeah.
To
smart contracts, yeah.
Smart contracts, yeah. Backdoor kill switch to smart contracts and clarity as to who controls that switch. Making the statement like, it's for you, it's to protect you. So if you need to do that, you can. But then the actual language doesn't really clarify who has their finger on that button.
Well, of all the stablecoins that do have the ability to remotely freeze funds and burn funds and control funds at the smart contract level, guess which stablecoin does that best? USDC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a reason we don't hold even $1 in USDC. But there you go. I mean, that's my dark view of this news. I don't view this as positive for decentralization, probably positive for capital C and air quotes crypto as an industry, but not for the cypherpunk version of crypto. Moving on, MetaMask apparently is partnering with Moonpay to let Nigerians buy crypto via bank transfer. Huh.
So this was interesting. MetaMask has expanded its partnership with Moonpay in Nigeria. to enable users to buy crypto tokens directly from their wallets.
That is, I think, probably a very positive push. Nigeria and some of the other African countries that currently engage with the M-Pesa system, so being able to pay essentially with credits on your phone, more along the lines of like swapping airtime minutes or like swapping text credits on your phone. It's very interesting, the M-Pesa system. But moving from that to crypto, in my opinion, would be preferable. So this is a positive movement. Not everybody loves Consensus or MetaMask. Not everybody loves Moonpay, but you have to admit they are making it a lot simpler. And this is how we onboard the next million unbanked users in Africa, who then go and proselytize to cousins and family and business partners across the continent to really invade Africa with the orange pill.
And this is really solving a problem for Nigerians because they have had issues with the central banks in Nigeria trying to prohibit people from getting involved in the crypto industry. And this has been a solution to that problem.
It looks like also they are partnering with Yellow Card. For an international community, like if you're into, soccer or football, what a tragic name to give your financial business. Yellow Card. Here you go. You get a yellow card and you get a yellow card, but you get a red card.
Ooh.
I know. It's bad jokes. This avenue is not without its disadvantages, opens the doors for scammers to defraud unsuspecting victims, as well as the possibility of bank account closures by the central bank. I mean, we've seen it here for sure. Banks that just stop servicing customers when they connect their accounts to Coinbase. We're no strangers to that in the United States. And in Nigeria, they're about to get their first taste of that.
And then you're going to have that loss of trust, too, when the scammers run in and people start losing. I mean...
No. Hold on. No, that guy who emailed me really is a Nigerian prince. There are no scammers in Nigeria. Stop.
I saw you cry over his story. That's true.
It was touching. Could happen to anyone, especially, royalty. But apparently they say we've rolled out an innovative documentless KYC solution leveraging the governmental databases. This will allow users to onboard faster and more safely with Moonpay by providing their bank verification number. I also don't love the de-anonymization of crypto networks, and this is another way that we de-anonymize Ethereum and other crypto networks. However, adoption is going to be messy, and this is part of adoption. So, Mineyour.biz community, what do you think? Tell us in the comments. Do you think this is positive? Do you think this is negative? We'd love to hear from you. Apparently, Microsoft is working on a new feature that enables users to send and receive crypto assets through its default web browser called Edge. Now, this one is an interesting one for me. I worked as a senior national trainer for Microsoft way back when Edge was still called the Spartan browser. And it was just being sort of ideated and launched through Microsoft Windows 10. And they went on to rebase all of that code to the Google Chrome code base, Chromium. And now it is kind of mimicking some of the functions of other clones of Chromium, like Brave.
Well, I think that any big company like Microsoft will be foolish to ignore the burgeoning crypto industry. So everyone's trying to get involved, but it's that interesting difference of philosophy between Web 2 and Web 3. Right? Where it's like, oh yeah, I'm a big monolithic company and I want to come in and give you a convenient product that gives me market dominance. That's usually what's happening there.
Yeah.
So it's a mixed bag. It's like, oh yeah, this helps with mass adoption. This helps people get involved. And they're like you see here, it says a non-custodial crypto wallet that gives users exclusive control of their assets and private keys. So, there's all that hand waving of like, no, you control everything. It's safe. It's in your hands. But it's embedded into the browser.
Yeah, which is embedded into Microsoft Windows as an operating system. Some people have serious mistrust there. So Mineyour.biz audience, I need to ask you, first off, +1 for the vocabulary word of the day, burgeoning. And I'm curious, community, do you think it's pronounced burgeoning or burgeoning?
Oh, did I say?
Is one of those right?
Burgeoning.
Are both of them right? Is it burgeoning? Is it burgeoning? Does it really matter? Tell us in the comments.
You love to catch me on vocab words.
Oh, I was raised by a grammar police woman. So, hey, it's just old habits die hard. But this was leaked and this has been all over the internet. There's an indication that there will be tie-ins to Moonpay, which is not a stretch considering there are tie-ins to the Brave wallet for Moonpay. And same with MetaMask. I think Moonpay would be very willing to pen an agreement with Microsoft. My real unfiltered opinion, I really don't think that anyone should be taking this seriously. I pity the fool that does.
They're basically testing out the market.
Looks like in the state of Florida, Florida man himself, Ron DeSantis, he's not really Florida man. That's just funny to say because
he is the Florida man.
Know, right? He's the official Florida man. Who does Florida man elect? Ron DeSantis.
Yes.
Apparently, he's touted a bill that would ban the use of any Fed-backed digital currency in Florida. So no CBDCs here.
He proposed banning the use of central bank digital currency as money in his state's commercial code. He wants to, quote, protect Floridians from the Biden administration's weaponization of the financial sector, unquote.
Those are strong words, but I think they're warranted right now in the current environment, the current climate.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's getting worse. And all the other news cycle kind of showed the banking sector too. We covered that. If you haven't seen the recent news, go check that out on the Mineyour.biz channel about the banking collapse. We are giving up-to-date information on that. We'll get you caught up in under 20 minutes. But it's a scary time. I see why he would go out of his way to say this now. He's accusing President Joe Biden of eyeing the technology for surveillance and control.
Politically, he's calling out Joe Biden, but I think this is just an issue with any government agency at any time. It doesn't matter who's in office. If the code is there in place to control, that's what our country's been doing for a long time now.
Yeah, we're damn good at it too.
Yep.
We're the best in the world. And by extension, the known galaxy, known universe.
So I really appreciate the fact that he's just calling out the issue of surveillance and protecting his citizens from it. I really commend that.
Bravo, Ron DeSantis.
It's going to be the federal government pushing for the CBDCs for everyone, and it's going to have to be the states fighting back. So yeah, we really do have to rally around these leaders who are fighting to protect us against that.
Yeah, hashtag states' rights. The controversial public figure and founder of Tron, Justin Sun, has proposed a $1.5 billion offer to acquire Credit Suisse. Now, this was 2 days old at this point.
Yes, so this was an older article. However, I did pull it up for a reason because we were covering Credit Suisse the other day. And at the time of this printing, he was offering $1.5 billion. Now, if you recall, it was actually acquired for $3.2. But the original offer from USB was for $1 billion. So his offer was actually for more than USB's initial offer.
He may have been personally responsible for bidding the price up past $3 billion.
Yep.
Or at least one of the parties. But apparently he noted that Switzerland has been a leader in embracing cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. I mean, of course, he's right. The future is in these technologies, but man, Tron is such a weird mixed bag of an ecosystem. Other news surrounding Justin Sun. What's going on with this guy?
But then, so there are rumors kind of floating around right now that he has been taken off as the ambassador to the World Trade Organization for Grenada. So he's lost his ambassadorship and possibly his Grenadian citizenship. Now, this is unconfirmed. This is a rumor. But I find it very interesting that this is coming literally days on the heels of the Credit Suisse bank being overtaken by a centralized bank in Switzerland that essentially paid only the shareholders.
Yeah, he had the ambassadorship, which gave him the right to use the acronym HE for His Excellency when he was traveling on diplomatic missions. And I am seeing huge benefits in becoming an ambassador. I feel like maybe I need to do this. This is important.
You want people to call you His Excellency.
Your Excellency when they're talking to my face.
Your Excellency.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I introduce His Excellency.
I need this.
Mineyour.biz.
Let me have this one nice thing. 100 billion leaves the 5 largest U.S. banks' market cap in 2023 as Bitcoin adds 200 billion.
Bitcoin is winning. The banks have just bled.
That's true. And without offering any financial advice, there are definitely some opinions that Bitcoin may experience a pullback if it doesn't find support above a certain level before the end of the year or before the end of the quarter even. I'm inclined to believe those forecasts. I don't believe we can sustain an environment where it's up only, and I don't believe Balaji saying that we'll have $1 million Bitcoin. Audience, please tell us in the comments, do you think we can see $1 billion Bitcoin in the next 90 days? Or $1 million Bitcoin in the next...
$1 billion. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
We're all going to be billionaires.
We never do things halfway here. But $1 million Bitcoin in the next 90 days? Or do you think it's maybe going to look a lot more like a sawtooth pattern, up and then back a little bit, down a little bit, and then back up again, and then down a little bit, and then back up again.
What I find noteworthy is that Bitcoin has made gains where the banks have made losses.
It's finally doing what it was supposed to do. The last time there was a bit of economic uncertainty, it did not quite perform the way everybody hoped it should as a hedge against inflation, and it's starting to behave that way now, which is what has me worried. I don't know if it is actually as sustainable in the midterm as people believe it is. Long term, yes, but midterm and short term, I'm doubtful. We hope that this roundup of this week's news has been helpful for you.
Love you guys.
Thank you for watching to the end of the video. You're the reason to make this media. We love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.